All right. Welcome, everybody. It's Comics Karma at the Sequential Artists Workshop, and I'm Tom Hart. And I'm here with,
Lauren Weinstein here,
usually you say live from New
live
Jersey.
from New Jersey, home
Um,
of uh the community pool. It's the heat and the cold and the rain.
all in one day.
I mean, like in the last 3 days.
Oh, yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
Usually I ask you how the project's going, but I think I want to ask, um, well, how is it going?
Okay, so this is
No,
where
it's more complicated than I expected. Okay,
this
go
is,
ahead.
this is where the rubber hits the road. This is where real life enters into the picture.
Oh,
Whereas in the past, few weeks that we've been together, I've been treated to the very most wonderful times of that wonderful balance of the kids being away from like 9 to 5, 9 to 4, can work.
oh,
Now it's the
school's
last
ending.
school early dismissal and yesterday was an early dismissal too. So like my brain, I guess I could call it a neurotypical neuro, what is it? Neurospicy, neuro, whatever. Diverse, not ADHD, neurodiverse. Uh, this is where things start to pile up. And yesterday
Hmm.
I kind of had a mini panic attack in Trader Joe's. Like, how do I buy food? What do the children need? The pool, I'm gonna and then I remembered last year crying at the community pool during the big float night where you had to hang out with all the moms and just I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't because I'm a free artist, man. My mind it needs to be thinking about all these things. And and so I'm kind of bracing myself
For more
for
mom
more of this.
and parent events and more
More of the free form, which is like not
uh,
the like
the freeform time thing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Uh-huh.
free form time. And just at this moment, I got advanced to the second round of this big grant that I applied for. And
Oh,
the grant, which is awesome, but the grant has you do two different things, which are very, very valuable for more than just the grant. One is write a timeline for 2026, and
oh
one is
my.
write a budget of what you would do with this money. And so it's it's due July 7th, just as my kids are transitioning into camp, and then you get the 4th of July weekend. And I'm still working on my book and like trying to do all these revisions. And I have like a very clear path for my book right now. It's just like finishing pages, sitting my ass down in the seat, painting, 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 having a great time, seeing this work. Just don't even need to think too much about it, just working on it. That part is great. But now I've got to think about structure and maintenance and all these other things. And so finding that balance is difficult.
Oh boy.
But I actually like just this morning I had this like I was just like write everything, just spill out everything you want to do in 2026. Like really think about what does January of 2026 look like? What is and so this book that I want to have going on after the book that I'm finishing right now is something that compiles all my work about parenting. And I kind of want to broaden the idea to caring. Like, what does it mean to care for society? Because that's what being a parent made me kind of aware of, not just myself and my children, but what does a whole nourished society look like? And of course, that is very much being called into question right now.
Hmm.
Society, it's like we're the least caring society. um, and you can see it in budget cuts, and you can see it in war. It's just and I was just thinking that the opposite of that is care. So I've been trying to have all these different ideas and I want to connect them together and I want to travel to places where caring is happening and I want to work with the survivors of domestic violence that I worked with last year and now I would have a budget to pay them. Like so all these different threads and I want to try and tie them up into this
Mm.
this budget and timeline idea for this grant. And so that even if I don't get the grant, I have the map, um, which seems invaluable. Um, so those are just all the things that I'm thinking of right now. But then, you know, combine that with after this podcast, 12:45, I pick up my kid and we go to the community pool. And who knows what happens for the rest of the day.
And all that, and all those things that are swirling around in your head
Yeah,
keep swirling, and that's kind of the problem, right? It's better when you can
right.
like put them down, structure them somehow or whatever,
Yeah,
but you're not ready for that. And at 12:45, they're just going to be this like crazy soup.
yeah. And so then like I think maybe is this parenting or ADHD? I think about this all the time, or both. Uh, what if I bring my iPad and my sketchbook to the community pool?
Of
Like
course.
that'll work, right? Like I can just sit down somewhere and the kids will that don't really know how to swim can just swim around. Maybe they won't drown. There are lifeguards there.
I I think it'll be fun. Um, what-
So this,
I, I think you'll be fine. Pull up a
yeah,
chair close to the edge with your iPad, and it'll be fine.
and that'll be a very focused time, right? Like I won't be like distracted by
Right.
anything. So anyway,
Flashing
that's
and
how things are going.
oh
There
boy.
it's okay. But
Is this project, this future project, is it a short one or a long one or
it's a
medium?
collection of a lot of stuff that's already done.
But
And
it
and
sounds
I'm
like
thinking of like three new visual essays.
okay. Okay. Complete with traveling though. Is it a good sized grant for such a project?
$40,000.
What? God, Lauren, you
So,
are our inspiration.
but I mean, I don't know if I'll get it. I mean, that'd be
Oh,
very.
it's an application.
What'd you say?
Oh, it's only an application at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not.
Oh.
I'm in the second round, but it doesn't. It's
Hmm.
just the review stage.
Okay. Well, good luck. Somehow this might segue into what Dante Hookie is about to ask us.
I think some of it might.
Maybe it might, yeah, let's find out. Dante, um, yeah, come
Hello.
on. You have some questions or a question or anyway, I just also want to say it's been a long time since I've seen you and it's really nice to see you. Yeah.
I love you.
Aw. Well, let's hear how things are with you and what you're up to, and especially what you're dying to find out from Lauren, who's kind of
Mm.
like one of these machines that you get at the carnival where you can just like put a quarter in and get some wisdom.
Do you get advice that's going to change your
Yeah,
entire life? Yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
know. It does segue actually, because yeah, it's like you're saying about care and about society. My work is like a blend of like memoir, poetry, comics, and academic theory. And most of the I just finished a draft of a book about my years homeless, and I just started a draft about the diagnostic process for my intersex disorder. And when you do books like that, like I've kind of gone through the period of doing it for myself, and now I'm kind of thinking about what it's going to mean for the world. And there's kind of there's an aspect of, yeah, like you were saying, like wanting to create a more caring society and knowing that stories can do that, but not knowing how. And I guess like I've been into comics for a long time now, and I am into memoir, particularly I am into documentary comics. And so many of them have been released over the past decade or 2 decades, and the world is still cruel. America,
Yeah.
in particular, is very, very cruel. And I guess I'm going to make my books regardless. But like, where is the place of comics in even just the tiniest amount? Like one or two people, could we change hearts, minds, and actions to something more caring? And can we do that through like what is it, personal testimony, personal narrative, that type of thing. And if that is something you think it can do, how does it do it? I guess I was thinking, like, I was reread Rosalie this week, Tom, and I was thinking a lot about like sometimes when people tell a story straight, like a true story, like a memoir story straight, I get scared off. And
Mm.
that like fear in me, like, oh no, that's so terrible. And I'm autistic, so I'm very, very sensitive to that type of thing. Like, oh, that's such a terrible thing to happen. And I shut down. And I was wondering, like, so if my story is about being homeless or being a rape survivor or the intersection, like all of these traumas that I've been through, if I tell these stories, do people run away? Are people too frightened to engage? It shuts down so people don't care. So I guess it's like that, like, because Rosalie never did that. You use enough, no, you tell it wonky. You know what I'm saying? You tell it wonky,
So it's slant.
metaphor or something. Anyway, that's my spiel.
It's a good starting place, Lauren.
I love, well, everything you're asking, I think about all the time.
Mm.
And I love telling it wonky. Like, I think that's why we're storytellers. I love not approaching things straight on. And I think when things feel like eating your Wheaties, then it's not as fun, like, but, I was thinking about Barefoot Jen, that comic Barefoot Jen. Like, that's like the first time I heard the Japanese perspective
Mm.
on Hiroshima and Hiroshima. Um, so, and I remember Warren Bernard, who's this like comics scholar and has this enormous collection in his home. Have you been to Warren Bernard's house, Tom?
I haven't, no.
It's it's in Bethesda, and he also works for like the National
Library of Congress?
Library of Congress, right?
Yeah.
So I remember looking. He had all of this, a whole section of, I think, like comics about war. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I felt like I was entering into this secret world that I hadn't of people's perspectives that I'd never seen before. And I think that we can't worry about audience so much. If these things are out there, then people will find them. Like, that's sort of a, maybe they're not going to like reach a cajillion people, but they'll reach people in a very profound way. And that's really, because there is something about the way people read comics. Even, our attention is so divided right now. That's how they're getting us. And comics demand both the attention of the maker and the attention of the viewer. And we're very lucky that we are engaging in this practice that slows us down
Mm.
and commands our focus. And that's a gift we can give to other people. And those are very like highfalutin things. I'm trying to do these morning pages now, like the artist way, like just centering myself every morning, trying to do 3 pages. I think I learned about that from Instagram. Like so, but the idea of, I do think that that's what makes comics very special, in terms of getting your very particular message out to the world. Um,
You know, the the power, not the power. I don't want to use like high, I don't want to use big words like power. Stories have power. They do. But oh boy, what am I trying to say? I really think that we need as many true stories as possible. And a true story is one that really just feels true. Oh boy, you can go real dark there, right? Because
yeah,
that's how Trump changed the world, right? He made a story that felt true to a lot of people. And but the thing is he told it over and over and over and over and over and over again to the same people over and over and over and over and over again, right? They never tired of that story. Um, because it felt true. but but it wasn't. So just think like anyway. So but I think a lot of us artists who are like slaving away in isolation undervalue the effect of many voices telling a mosaic of stories. And I was kind of a political cartoonist back in the back in like 2006 during the George Bush administration, and I was like, we got to change things. This is a nightmare. Um, and a lot of us sort of lefty cartoonists were like, but I don't know, am I preaching to the choir? We were just like, oh, am I preaching to the choir? Turns out preaching to the choir is a way to keep the choir motivated and alert, and they are part of the change vector. They help change things. And that's what Trump did. He just like kept preaching to his goddamn choir, and it would slowly grow, or maybe some little spillover to these bunch of folks who aren't paying attention, and blah blah blah. So if our stories are dark but truthful and about what we've gone through and about the world we live in, that we don't think people are exactly seeing it right, I think we have to tell those stories, and there has to be lots of those stories. And the more, and my daughter's what, 11? She's about to be 12. The more she can learn about how bad the world is through books, the better. you know? And if she's like, I just read this story by so and so, is there another book like this? I'm like, oh yeah, Dante's got this book. Here, read this one. And I mean, so there are always new people who need to understand. I just think we really undervalue ourselves when we see ourselves just as another blip in the marketplace, or something like that. I'll get off my soapbox. I'll let someone else speak. Am I right? Do I have to cut this pause
Yeah.
out?
No, no, yeah, what do you think, Dante?
I love Tom's soapboxes. I've never had a problem with it. Like every time you apologize for a soapbox, you finish saying something fucking genius. Um, I guess like that thing that you said, Lauren, about like slow and Tom bringing up Trump. Like I think about that a lot because like it takes a long time to make a comic, but I'm just a very slow. I just process things very slowly. I'm overwhelmed a lot of the time. Feel
Mhm.
things very deeply, and when you feel things deeply, it takes a lot of time. Um, and I was trying to compare in my head, like if I write a graphic novel about this, or I do a series of TikTok videos, do you know what I mean? And I realized that it was about speed. You know what I mean? Like speed of creation and speed of consumption. And I could never keep up with we can never keep up with Trump's speed. We can't keep up with these people's rate of truth. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know. I think comics are more powerful than a TikTok video. It has the staying process. Like it'll stick with people if it touches them. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, TikTok and all the social media and all that, it's all storytelling also, but it has the effect of keeping us insensitive to things that might actually
mm,
touch us. And so getting through that sort of rampart of attention, I don't know how to do that, but um,
mm.
Well, especially, I mean, all right, I'm gonna bring it up again, that blind boy podcast. I don't know if you listen, but I
I
just
love
listened
it.
to it this morning, and he was talking about how people, the whole idea is, sometimes people will mispronounce something in a video just to get people to make angry comments,
Mm.
that will drive up the viewership. Like, and so if that's your strategy, like, where is that art? Like, that's just terrible. Like, why? That's nothing that we as practitioners want to do. Like, that's propaganda. That's like distracting and dividing your mind so that you feed in. And it's so easy to get taken in by that. Um,
So true.
and and then you're like, I don't know, I just feel like core values get lost in this whole process of trying to appeal to some fake audience. Even like, who knows who, you know, what an audience even really is out there. Whereas if you can actually, connect with real people, that's like probably the number one thing you can do right now. um
Mhm.
so
I think I think we're looking at a I like to look at this time, or maybe the time that's coming, or the time we can create, or something, as kind of like um, the Silk Road. And like we've all got these communities, and they're all um, and we all have things to trade, right? And so like and we're all isolated too. We don't really communicate, but we can. One person can go from one community to the other and say, "Oh, you like stories about trauma? We have this one over in our community. You should check it out." And they'll, "Oh, here, look at our trauma story," or whatever. It might be something else. I don't want to make a joke about that. Let's say I need another genre, but I can't think of one off the. But the point being is that we're so fractured, and there's so many books and stories and things out there now, and that's a good thing. And we can just hope to connect with people, and we need people adventurous enough to go outside of their own communities, but we also need people like this community trying to keep one together and say like, when you have that story ready, we will read it. Um, you know, and then we will also share it outside of our community and things like that. Um, I'm sort of rambling again, but the point is that like we really need to talk about how the world is. I always I always think there's two things we need to do. We need to do that, and we need to get out there and do activist shit, which is hard. And I don't, I'm always worried that like I'm gonna miss that point where it's like, okay, art stopped here and you got to do activist shit now. I'm like, oh shit, I missed it, and it's over, and we killed the world. Um,
that's a question I have all the time as well.
yeah.
Like, when do you just drop everything and, you know put, and be an activist, and what does that even look like? Like,
Yeah.
those are questions I have sometimes.
But then we can always say, oh, I'm a storyteller for our side, or I'm a
Right.
storyteller for the earth, which is true,
Yes, which is true.
and might be enough. I don't know. I don't know.
I
I don't.
always look at those Alice Neal paintings that she did of like marches uh,
Hmm.
that were happening like right outside her house, like how or Kath Kolowitz. I don't know. So many names I don't really know how to pronounce.
Oh yeah. Well, put your angry comments below.
um
It's
uh Kathy?
Well, she was German, right? So it's
Yeah.
Kate.
Kathy.
I don't know. I'm making this shit
I
up.
don't know.
I'll get everything wrong if you want, if it'll help the comments and the algorithm.
um so yeah.
Well, you do that a lot. I just saw recently on one of your threads or something that you posted from the no one of the recent protests or something, and you did that during 2016 or 17. I remember you posted a lot from those. You do a lot of sketching out
Yeah,
near.
like I like to sketch during a protest.
Yeah.
I actually feel like that's a perfect place for my mind to go. It's just taking notes on what everybody's sign says, and kind of documenting, listening.
You
Uh,
know,
that
I,
seems like also another network too.
I want to connect that and see if this feels right. Because if it feels right, it's true. Um, there's plenty of people documenting these protests. You can easily go online and see 100,000 million images or anything that happens. You can see 100,000 images of anything that happens, right? But the fact that Lauren Weinstein is sitting there with her pencil and her sketchbook is really beautiful and important. And how important? I don't know. We can't gauge that. I just don't think
Right.
we can gauge it. And but it is. We need humans to do human things that have for a very, very long time been pretty awesome. I guess violence is a human thing too, so I don't know. But I want to connect it to what you were saying about caring. And I mean, the problem is the world's problems are so big that we're like, what does one act of caring do? You know, what does one act of sketching do? And then, but then the thing I want to connect it to is like I have I have friends, I have friends in Iran, I have friends in Jerusalem, I had friends in Gaza. I haven't heard from them. I had friends outside of Gaza who I can't even get in touch with. And and I think part of our job is to just feel grief for those people. And that's not helping in any tangible way, right? I mean, can't say, yeah, I did my grief. I clocked my grief in for the day and I get to do other things. It's just something about what the world needs right now is a lot of human empathy.
Yeah.
I think people need to keep feeling. I think
Yeah.
that's what's important there. I think it's too easy right now to shut down, and I think a lot of us that are empathetic and on the left shut down because there's just so much horror. There's so much horror, like right on our tiny screens, 24 hours a day. But drawing up protests. I mean, Sacco in Palestine, Sarah Glidden, drawing up protests.
Yeah. Some,
Absolutely.
yeah. Some of us don't do that, right? I mean, some of us aren't like Sacco or Glidden getting into the middle of these things and telling those kinds of stories. But you're right, we all have to keep feeling, and maybe that's part of how we help in telling our stories.
Makes me think what you're saying about it not like whether or not being a storyteller is enough. It makes me think about what Lauren was saying about. I have no idea that you could mispronounce something and you get rage bait. I fucking hate YouTube and I don't watch television like this. Like the speed of it and the banality and the and I saw something somewhere recently that said like social media is light. It's a light content. And I make heavy content. I make weighty content. Like what I make takes a long yeah, it takes a long time. Maybe that's a job. Do you know what I mean? It's so and again, I'm a jobbing illustrator. And I'll tell you what, fucking rough right now. There's not a lot of work and it pays increasingly badly for my groceries than my rent. It just keeps getting more expensive. And I think there's a lot of people in my industry that are yeah, falling to things like what can I do to get the algo? What can I do to get anyone to give me a job? And it's kind of like slowly eroding, yeah, like you said, like values. Because we need money. And because the money just isn't there anymore, AI kicks off. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe those of us that are able to kind of hold the to kind of hold the door, do you know what I mean? And keep making the heavy, the important, the slow stuff
To
that
bring it,
doesn't pander.
yeah, to bring it back to that like thing that I guess Lauren and I feel a little bit of like, do I stop doing stories and start doing activism? What we also need is political change. And I don't mean we need to
Mm.
change the people in power. We need legislation that says, hey, these algorithms are really bad, et cetera, et cetera. This AI shit is going to kill everybody. It's going to kill jobs, et cetera, et cetera. Like, how about we pass a fucking law now and then? Like, and how about we enforce it now and then, And that's what makes me every once in a while, the worst part of my brain every once in a while thinks maybe I should run for office. I would hate it. I would be terrible at it.
I'd vote for you
Yeah.
Well,
in
okay,
Texas.
that's too, yeah. But like, what else is going to change? Like, nothing's going to change if legislation doesn't change, and uh, and these things should be regulated. How these algorithms work, definitely.
Legislation doesn't change if the people don't ask for it, and the people don't
Right,
ask for it if the people know they should ask for it. And maybe that's where artists come in.
right. It's so
Well,
slow.
like just
It's
yesterday,
so slow.
yeah. So my mom is like a political activist, and one of my, a lot of my book is about her, and I was just, um, she's the head of something called the Coalition on Human Needs, and 2 days ago she had a big Zoom meeting with some senators, that was about the big brutal bill that's going to kick 16 million people off of health care if it gets passed in the Senate. And so I just sketched her during the Zoom thing, and I just put it online, like, here, call your senators today. But I think about my mom's unflagging dedication to the nuts and bolts of politics for her entire life. And it's both inspiring and it's also really tough because I see how much, like, she doesn't sleep. Like,
Mm.
it's I think trying to take care of yourself and take care of your family and take care of society is it's a tall order. But I think that's where figuring out what our strengths are is
Mhm.
is so important. Not getting distracted.
I have an activist friend, Deanna, who I love, great person, and I'm so inspired by her. And she's also does cartoons and is a really great communicator and but is really in the trenches with political communications mostly. And and I asked her a lot of these questions. I was like, "Am I doing enough?" And she was so generous because she gets so much out of what we do at SAW and gets so much out of the community we created and the way we help people express themselves and stuff like this. But this was fall of 2016. And I said, "Am I doing enough?" She said, "You're doing enough. It's okay. You can just relax." And then, like, I was like, okay. And then a week later, Trump got elected. I was like, that conversation is never going to leave me because I'm not sure. Deanna, I don't know if that was true. Could I have gotten Hillary elected? No, I don't know. There is actually there's a lot of writing about that feeling that, like, our one effort could have pushed it. And it's not true. It's never true.
Yeah.
And but we have to, for some reason, our egos have this part of us are like, oh, if only I would have done this, the world wouldn't have been in the place it is. But that's not true.
I think artists are particularly susceptible to that feeling as well. I think we have
Yeah.
a little bit of magical thinking, like, oh, if
Yeah.
I just managed to paint the perfect picture, world peace.
But that thinking is so important to actually getting something done.
So otherwise we wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to do the work we do.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
greatest strength and our downfall.
A little bit of grandiosity is actually really important. Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
important, actually. Like, just like, you know what? I'm gonna make this thing. However crazy it is, I'm actually gonna make it. Um, that's a big
All right.
yeah.
How do we wind this down? Have we come to understandings?
I think really, like, it comes down to care, right? Like, that this idea of caring for the world, slowing down, nurturing ourselves and our communities, and putting out work that is true in whatever in quotes. Uh-oh, that's when we loop back around into, but yeah, it's all good stuff.
But the opposition, I don't want to say, like, left or right or whatever, but I do mean the forces of the future, the forces of the present are so fast compared to our slow caring. And that's what worries me, you know,
Yeah.
drones conducting wars and surveillance cameras and AI and no legislation and everything. It's like, and we're just taking care of our families. But yeah.
But but I think it's bigger than that, though.
Mm,
I mean, when I think about Barefoot Jen,
mhm.
like, that's still around. That's gonna change. Or Palestine, Joe Sacco, like, in-depth views into history, freezing a moment. Maybe it takes a little longer than our current, what's being thrown at us, but that it's playing the long game. And that's
To hope that it
incredibly
takes
true.
such a long time to build that it also sticks around for a long time.
Agreed. Yeah, and what you were saying about a heavier story having more weight, it's
Hmm.
absolutely, it's so important.
Maybe in the
Well,
meantime, you're doing the right thing now, Tom. Like building a community and encouraging other people to do the heavy work, do the long game.
yeah, just trying to create a place where people can be um, genuine with each other and
Mm.
uh, make their communication so nuanced that it needs its own word for it, which is comics.
I love that. I love that.
um, well, it's true, like that's how nuanced we are. Our communication has its own word. But yeah, I mean, I have to believe that that's a value. Yeah. I mean, I think, there's so many like primate like things to think about. There's this idea we can only keep 100 acquaintances at any one time, and the number of close friends you can have at any one time is much smaller. But it expands when you all have either a goal or a story to believe in. And so there are lots of ways in which primates and people glom onto each other. And they need to glom onto each other for survival. And we're starting to realize just how much some of that is just mental. It's like I go crazy if I don't have my community, right? And so yeah, that's what we're doing here is just trying to keep a place where people are welcome and heard. Phew. What are we talking about?
Changing the world with a comic, Tom.
I think we're just gonna slowly let the drain sort of sort of spill
We
out.
should we should have some, let's pretend that there's music that kind of carries us out of this one.
Yeah,
We just
well,
go back to our dark desks.
we should be singing it around or chanting or something.
Can it be Bella Ciao, or is that too much?
What's Bella Ciao?
It's like an old revolutionary song,
Oh,
anti-fascist.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's do
Leela's
that.
been singing this Yiddish anti-fascist song like in the house lately. This basic
Nice.
it's basically like fuck the police, but in Yiddish. It's really awesome. And then talking about burying the Tsar along with his mother, stuff like that. It's pretty good.
I love it.
Old revolutionary songs. We should be doing something more like that. But right now I'm just instead letting the energy drain out, which is not a good good way to finish up. Lauren, what's next for you? The pool.
The pool.
The pool's right after this. I'm gonna help. I'm gonna help my daughter make an animal mask later
Cool.
because they're really into animals, and that's a good thing.
Oh, that's a really good thing.
Dante, what's next for you today?
Um, I have to finish a children's illustration job. But I'm going to finish it really fast and then go back to making my book.
I can't wait to see your
Capitalism.
book.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Thanks for reigniting. Do you know, I think it's community, isn't it? You get down. You get down. You look at the world and you get down.
You get down like book like funky down? What do you
No,
mean? Down?
I mean sometimes
Oh, you
dancing
get
does
down and
fix
you
it.
need community. Oh, gotcha. Oh, I thought you meant community makes you get
No,
down. Oh,
life's sad. You think, oh, I'm just here making my stupid little books like a loser,
yeah,
and not the
yeah,
case.
yeah. And we may need those communities in the apocalypse because like then we'll be like, okay, who knows how to grill, who knows how to fillet a deer, who knows how to get.
Who knows how to ink something really neat? Great. Bye.
All right. Well, Lauren, I'll see you in a week. I'm really glad that you showed up and really
Yeah,
glad.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so
Thanks
much.
for having me and all your good advice. It's wicked. Thank you all. Love
And
you.
yeah, and everybody else, we'll see you in a week. I think next week might be our last one for a while. Lauren and I will connect about that. And I think we have to check in on Michael Ashton, who had a deadline or something. Isn't
Oh
that?
yeah, deadline.
Yeah, there was something up with that. All right, everybody, have a good weekend. Have a good week. Have a good future. and we'll see y'all later. I don't know how to do that. I never really learned. I just kind of. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. This has been a production of the Sequential Artists Workshop, or SAW. You can find us on social media at Comics Workshop and online at sawcomics.org. There you can also hear about our many courses and intensives and in-person programs. SAW is a non-profit supported by people like you. Learn how to make a tax-deductible donation at the donate page of sawcomics.org. You can join our free community of comics explorers at members.sawcomics.org. Thanks so much for being here.